A lot of us will agree that the 6th anniversary is easily the best celebration in Dragon Ball Legends. So what if they recreated it? I'm sure I've got your attention right now, and there's gonna be a lot of things to talk about, but I'm gonna minimize it for the core subject's sake. So it should go without saying, the units are very important. So let's talk about the template real quick. The 6th anniversary had 3 parts, 4 if you include the after party. It does say 6th anniversary after party, so I will be including it for this video. We have 2 Legends Limiteds in part 1, we have 2 Legends Limited in part 2, we have 1 Ultra in part 3, and we also have 1 Legends Limited in the after party. I'm not gonna hone in too much on the Sparkings, but I will touch on them a bit here and there when I get further into the video. But what I also want to address is the sagas that the units come from, so not just the rarity. In the 6th anniversary, we had Buu Saga, X sagas from the movies. That was part 1, it was also part 2, but part 3 was GT, a completely different saga, and the after party was also GT. So for the template, I'm going to pick 2 tags for part 1, and those same 2 tags will exist in part 2, and part 3, as well as the after party, will also have the same tags. And in that, I think they can definitely bring out an amazing celebration considering how we all enjoyed the 6th anniversary. Let me know in the comment section below if you actually believe that the 6th anniversary is the best anniversary of all time, and if you disagree, let me know what you think is better. Post Legends 7th anniversary and somewhat during, a lot of people weren't really a fan of it, and right now the game's in kind of a weird state, especially since we're in the dry period, but it's been a lot worse than usual. So I thought I'd bring this video to bring up the idea of what could have been. Let's get into this. So for the celebration to have a strong start, it's going to have a similar setup to what was in the 6th anniversary. I'm not saying it has to be Fusion Warriors, but it's going to have to be 2 of a similar thing to build up the hype, and there's only so many things they can choose from. There's not a lot if we're talking about the peak of hype when it comes to Dragon Ball, but I do think there's a lot of ways they can go about this. For example, if they went Daima and GT, we could have 2 Super Saiyan 4 Gokus for the part 1. They're different but in the same way they had Gogeta and Vegito for the part 1 of the 6th anniversary. We need something that's going to be hype on both ends, so much so that nobody's really considering which one is better that much. You're just so overwhelmed that you want it all. We could also go sagas from the movies and Cell Saga, but the only thing I think about Cell Saga is it doesn't have more than one thing that people would really want in a celebration. Of course, Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, and if I was gonna go sagas from the movies, I would choose the Super Saiyan 2 Gohan from the BoJack movie. But then for part 2, I'm going to still need a Cell Saga unit, so that's not gonna be good enough in my opinion. So unfortunately, I think the easiest way for them to go about it is to just do the inverse with the exact same characters that they had in the 6th anniversary. So the 2 Legends Limited were Super Vegito, which is Buu Saga, and on the other end we had Gogeta Blue, which is sagas from the movies. So if we just flip that, we would get Vegito Blue, and on the other end we would get Super Gogeta. We'd be following a similar format with sagas from the movies existing, but instead of Buu Saga, we're going to be going with Future. But to give us a bit more freedom, I think we should go with Future as an idea versus Future like the Goku Black arc, which does kind of stray from what they had in the 6th anniversary of Buu Saga in part 1 and part 2, but it's still close enough, so we're gonna go with it. So those will be our part 1 units. Super Gogeta from the Fusion Reborn movie, but I will add, if you would prefer, it can be the DBS Broly Super Saiyan Gogeta as well, but the only other option we have is Vegito Blue, unless they wanted to spice up with the Game Originals, but then they'd have to do another Game Originals in part 2, and I think that would be quite overwhelming, but not impossible to pull off. Now as a result, we're heading into part 2, and part 2 is much easier to pull off in my opinion. Without saying, we're gonna need another Gohan, and we've got sagas from the movies this time. So we're gonna be bringing out the Super Saiyan 2 BoJack Gohan. He's already been a Legends Limited in the anniversary before, the 3rd anniversary to be specific, but this one won't be a transforming unit, revival unit. He's gonna be Super Saiyan 2 out the gate, making him a very overpowered unit just like Ultimate Gohan was. But that leaves us with needing a future unit to be the other Legends Limited in this part 2. Now something I did really think about is the fact that if they're just copying the 6th anniversary, it won't replicate the same amount of hype because we've seen it before. Yes, it will be very enjoyable, but they've got to increase the bar just a bit. So how would they go about doing that? Although I think it's practically impossible, a Game Originals Goku Black would go crazy here. If you guys read the manga, you would know that Goku Black actually used Super Saiyan, where in the anime he does not. I mean, his hair goes yellow, gold, like the legendary Super Saiyan, Son Goku, before he gets to the stage of Rose, which is a really nice touch, but I really doubt that would be the case. So as a result, it's a bit of a settle, but we're gonna go for a Goku blue and a Vegeta blue. It's not exactly my first pick, but they've simply spammed Goku blacks in general, and I think this way they can keep the hype bar high, as it's a unit we haven't ever got before, not generally speaking, but from the saga. And now revealing the saga we're gonna be having for the part 3 and the part 4, so the after party, I think if we went for GT again, it just wouldn't hit the same. But also, unfortunately, there's no other Fusion Warrior options that would reach the same caliber as Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. So I think the easy no-brainer here is to take the Daima route. As much as people have bad feelings towards the team as a result of the pre-7th anniversary team, I think it's the only saga that isn't heavily touched on, so it's the best saga to get representation for the hypest period of the year. And I think without saying, the Ultra art would go crazy if they dropped a Super Saiyan 4 Goku. Him transforming all the way to Super Saiyan 4 one step at a time and putting in the here's a bonus would go crazy in an ink art, and it would be insanely high quality. But moving on from that, I think it's an open goal and should go without saying that the after party would be Legends Limited Goma. We haven't got any high rarity Legends Limited antagonists from Daima, so I think it would be a good time for Goma to appear to finalize the spot for this anniversary, recreating the 6th anniversary. Now, the 6th anniversary wouldn't be the 6th anniversary if we didn't talk about the mechanics, and the mechanics is really what made it shine. Fusion Warriors or whatever, we've had them for 6 years in a row when we got to the 6th anniversary. But if there was no synchro mechanics, I believe the anniversary would not be as hype as it was. Yes, it would still probably be the best anniversary we've ever got, but them putting in the effort to bring us a new gaming experience. Do you guys remember the last time we felt like what we felt like when it was the 6th anniversary? The only other time we've had a similar feeling was the 2021 festival.
Let me know if you'd want me to do a video recreating the 2021 festival too.
When they revealed Blue Bros, the first ever tag unit. So taking it a step further and having them fuse is a very nice touch. I think it should just go without saying, the part 1 units I chose, Vegito Blue and Super Gogeta, should also be synchro units. There's nothing else really to it, they just have to be synchro units. But they also need to have mechanics on top of that. We know Super Vegito has the Rising Rush free win mechanic, and Gogeta Blue, he has the Striker Soul. So Vegito Blue and Super Gogeta also need new mechanics. I think as long as they do that, we'd see everybody satisfied, because everybody would be concerned about what these new mechanics do, how we're going to utilize them, how valuable they're going to be. It's something so refreshing that everybody would be pleased, even if they're not a fan of the characters. So if I was to just throw out some rough ideas regarding Super Gogeta, I think he should have some invincibility shield. He has a similar thing in Sparking Zero, where he basically becomes stronger defensively, but think of it as an indestructible that can come in and out. His defenses will greatly increase, but at the same time, let's say you get his health to 0, the indestructible is going to stay on until his gauge hits 0, because Super Gogeta wasn't going down, let's be real. And I think that would make him really cracked long term, because it's almost as if his defenses don't matter as long as his gauge is up. It would obviously be a timed gauge. And if we're going for Vegito Blue, he would have to have a very heavy countering fighting style. So every time his gauge is full, he's gonna hit you with a counter. Not like Ultra Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, not like Ultra Margin Vegeta, and not like Ultra Gogeta Blue. It would be kind of those mixed in with Ultra Super Vegito, where every time you take out his gauge, and this could be from anything, a strike art, a blast art, and a blue card, even the green card, he's going to emit some damage outwards immediately. So on top of him getting out the combo, he's also damaging you without having to press a card. And that can happen 3 times in a game, which would be crazy, just like how he was fighting half corrupted Zamasu. Moving on to part 2, we don't really need any new mechanics. It's just the units need to look really good, and that would maintain the bar for what we got in part 1 of this anniversary. So Super Saiyan 2 Gohan and Blue Bros, they don't need anything crazy, they don't need to transform, it just needs to be them looking good, and that would be fine. But for part 3, we're going to need a new mechanic. So the Super Saiyan 4 Goku from Daima, he's going to have to do something new that we haven't seen before. Super Saiyan 4 Goku's big thing was his Kamehameha, and he was really overwhelming Goma. So I think easily here, he's going to have the tap actions art, but that's not going to be enough. He needs a bit more than that to layer on top how good he is of a unit. So as a rough idea, let's give him Ultra Super Vegito's gauge, but instead of him doing damage, if a blast art comes his way, he can dodge all of it and start his combo that way. This would obviously be limited, so 3 times a game, but it's a free combo starter every single time that you press a strike art against the enemy's blast. And I think that would make him really overpowered, especially for the Ultra of this celebration. And now for the after party, we have Goma. It should just go without saying, they should bring back a mechanic that we've already had in the game, the same way they did with Legends Limited Omega Shenron getting indestructible. Without a doubt, he needs the metal cooler mechanic. He's gonna have 2 comebacks, just goes without saying. That third eye was giving him regen abilities of heaven and hell. So every time you take out Goma, he comes back. But they just need to do it better. So Omega Shenron, very high key, he has a better kit than Goku and Bardock, so they just improved upon something that they already released prior, and this would be the first return of that mechanic. That's going to be the end of the video. Like I said earlier in the video, let me know if you'd like to see me recreate the best festival of all time, the 2021 festival. Obviously, I'd have to upgrade it a bit because the way they're releasing units now, things have changed. But I think the 6th anniversary format could still hold up right now. They do not need to release 2 ultras every celebration. I at least hope they don't anyways. But hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. If you haven't already, make sure to press the subscribe button. We're on this grind to 200,000 subscribers. I appreciate you guys for watching, man. My name is Zakashi, guys, and I will see you guys in the next one, man.